Okay, so I made another video. It's not posted it yet. Basically, I'm very busy with the new work that I'm doing, which I will post my videos to, you know, put some up here. I'm basically on a different track now. Uh, I've come to the realization that you have to stand for what you believe in. I mean, it's just that simple. Can't love your life too much in order to do that. And to be honest, my life has been reduced down to no friends. I do, continue to work in my chosen profession, but, I'm not able to be with my family. It's just, it's not very fulfilling. But I have had a chance to think about this now for a while. And I'm going to basically probably make a couple of videos that I intend to delete the videos that I have. And the thing is that, if you like, you shouldn't mess with me on any level, because I am the type of person that will go back and sue for everything I can get the court of a local town here that put me in jail for contempt of court. Now that I know what contempt of court is, and that they put me in a jail cell where there was no sunlight in the entire block. And now I know that there's things I can sue them for. Not to mention the drugs that they put in the water. Of course, they're going to lie about it, but why else would I have a hallucination? Anyway, I'm lucky it wasn't more than it was. I was told by the gentleman that ran the canteen that I was the only one in the jail that ordered water. And yet, three bottles of water. You don't think that that's manipulation? That means that I have to drink, if I'm going to drink water, I have to drink it out of the faucet. And interestingly enough, that whole week, 2 months I was there, they were posting papers trying to, create a device that there wasn't something wrong with the water and that it wasn't their fault. When I know good and well they were putting drugs in the water, powdered drugs in the water. Mm-hmm. So think about this. If they can do that, while you're in jail, you don't think they can do that anywhere any household that they want to do that to? Just saying. Anyway, I've got boxes and boxes and boxes of champagne boxes with little juice jars that sit in each one of them. I'm not going to store them in the basement. Not going to do that. As much raining and flooding is going on, I'm not going to take a chance on ruining my water. So anyway, I'm just trying to give you an idea that I'm not the type of person to be messed with. So when I say, do not post my videos anywhere without my permission. Don't do that. I don't care who you think you are. Do not do that. Learn to respect my wishes on my content. If you can't do that, don't plan on being where I am when this is over. Just don't plan on it. So I'm going to sue the place that put me in jail for contempt of court because the judge wouldn't answer my questions. So I saw a guy online that for one night in jail got $250,000. So by the time I'm done with this, I'm not trying to make money so I can be rich. I just want to hurt them in their pocketbook where it counts. Okay? If I get any money, which I don't need, I mean, I go out and I earn my living. It's enough to get by. But, you know, I'm not intending to get rich. If I do end up with money, I'm going to help out some people that I think deserve it. But you have to understand, I see everything. Everything that crosses past my eyes, I see it. I always know. Remember when I told you that I would find out what was happening to these children? You know, Celine Dion's, stardust that she's sprinkling on all these blue-clad and pink-clad newborns in the ward in the hospital. And the next thing you know, their clothing is turning into black and white. Freemasonic references. Do you understand? Magic. I mean, you might as well say magic. It's all part of the same thing. Black and white. And then we see all these poor woke children that have no idea who they are. They're like children who there's something, somebody did something to them. Why did they do that? Maybe they wanted to make sure that they had enough citizens. Remember my last? No, you didn't see it yet. But persons and citizens mean slave. In fact, that's another thing I'll be doing is changing my status by getting my passport, both card and book, that when I fill it out, I will fill it out as a non-citizen every place it asks me. No more citizenship for me. That's for the servants, the public servants. That's what that's for. That's their designation. That's who they are. Do you understand? And maybe the powers that run this place, I'm talking about the evil human powers that run this place, the children of the animal Nakis that you call angels, okay? Just trying to help you understand who they are and what they are, okay? Irrational animals. And you read their books, You read their Bibles, you read everything they write, and that's exactly what you see. Time after 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 time. When they have a chance to make a decision that would be good, they choose irrational. They did it from the beginning, and their children continue to do it to this day. So again, I just want you to know. So for that directed microwave energy weapon that was used on me, that's another one I'm going to sue them for. I'm going to make sure it cost them so much money, and I'm going to make sure that everybody that comes in contact with my voice knows that they are using directed microwave energy weapons on me. Now, is there a way around that? I don't know. I'm not going to turn from my fears, okay? They hit me the last time. At that time, I did not want to fight. I just wanted to, have a living to make. And so I hired an attorney. But I paid attention, and I watched, and I understood what happened at every step along the way, from the traffic stop that ended with me getting hit with the directed microwave energy weapon in my heart, okay? In my heart. That I had to crawl out of the courthouse. That's another thing I'm going to do. Before this is over, if I cannot get them, pardon me, in this world, I'm going to get them in the next. You cannot go around abusing people illegally or unlawfully. I don't care what jurisdiction you're selling. You cannot do that. So I'm not going to allow that anymore. I believe in natural law. What you do to me, you better watch out. Because I will have judgment about all them items and everyone involved before this is over. You will see. You will see. I don't go around destroying other people's property, stealing, threatening, bodily harm, any of that. But I'm not going to forget if if you hurt me. I'm not going to forget about it. Now, what I will actually decide will be determined upon the entire situation that you're involved in. And if it's bad, don't expect good from me. If you have a chance to correct yourself, I may help you out. Because I am forgiving for those who are worthy of forgiveness. But to say that I'm going to forgive all my enemies for everything they did to me, no. No, that has not been determined yet. I hold open the right to make whatever decisions that I make about those subjects. When the time comes, I have to make a decision. Anyway, so I'm going to do just a little bit of their, scriptures, because it is somewhat of a historical document, okay? If there's anything in there that's of any value whatsoever, you can't rely on everything in there for historical value. But there are some things in there that you can possibly count on, because we can see them in the natural and add, 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4, whatever, so we can figure these things out. So I just want to read this to you. This is Genesis 9:20. Genesis 9:20. I want to read this to you. And Noah began to be a man working in the earth, and he found a vine which the river had brought away from the Garden of Eden, and he planted it in a vineyard, and it flourished in a day, and its grapes became ripe, and he pressed them out, and he drank of the wine and was drunken. Okay? See, the Anunnaki don't have no problems with drunken behavior. This is part of the reason that they are irrational animals, because they feed that part of them where they want to do whatever they want to do and not own the responsibility of it. Clearly, that's what we read. When we read the Bible, when we read the Lost Book of Enki, whenever we read anything about them, that's what we're reading. You judge for yourself. And he made himself naked in the midst of his tent. And this is, a little bit deceptive. Because, now we're thinking, okay, here comes Ham. Here comes Ham. The father of Canaan beheld the nakedness of his father. So it sounds like, they're making fun of his, old wrinkled body. You understand? That's what it sounds like is going on. But there is a reasonable understanding in the Bible that whenever you uncover your father's nakedness, it has to do with his wife, which may or may not be your mother. I'm just saying. I used to tell my father that I was his firstborn. He used to tell me, nope, you have an older stepbrother. And I'm like, well, that was with a different wife, wasn't it? With my mother, I am your firstborn. I don't care about the other relationships. I care about my mother. We may be half brothers, and that's fine. That's great. But we're half brothers. My other brothers are fully my brothers. And I am fully my mother and my father. You get it? Okay. So here comes Ham, the father of Canaan, beheld the nakedness of his father and showed to his brethren without. And Shem and Japheth took a mantle and bare it upon the shoulders of each and went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were turned back, and the nakedness of their father they did not behold. In other words, they were not looking at their mother's naked body. And Noah woke from his wine and knew by relation of a dream what had been done to him by Ham, his son, who was inferior in worth on account that he had not begotten a fourth son. Now again, irrationality by the Anunnaki. Proof right there. Proof right there. So making statements like that is proof of irrationality. And when we see all of their fights between each other, that's what it always comes down to. So we're talking about cats and wolves or dogs, whatever, canines. That's what we're talking about. Fanged people. Shims, or rather shins. Shins. Shuas, daughter of Shua. You understand? Canaanites. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about Canaanites. Okay? Forget about race. Race has got nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with it. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. It's about bloodlines. And he said, accursed is Canaan, who is his fourth son, and a serving servant shall be to his brethren. And he said, blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, whose work is righteous. And therefore shall Canaan be a servant unto him. These are your public servants, people. There are also going to be angels. Now, is it a wide jump from going, from one of the bloodlines presented in the Bible, 1, 2, 3, is it a wide difference to assume that this group of individuals who are related to Ham, who are meant to be servants to the other brothers, the other two brothers, is it that far-fetched to believe that they would be angels, servants, angels, servants, angels? Let's not forget what we always see on these Catholic cathedrals when we see these, images of fanged, winged creatures that are both, wolf-like and cat-like, but mostly cat-like. Because, after all, it is the Catholic Church. Does not mean that they don't have a different group that are wolves. Lycans and vampires. Get it? Okay. Just trying to help you out. They're both Canaanites. Okay. They're angels. But remember, angels are fearful in the Bible. And he said, accursed is Canaan, who is the fourth son, and a serving servant shall he be to his brethren. And he said, blessed be the Lord God of Shem, whose work is righteous, and therefore shall Canaan be a servant unto him. And the Lord shall beautify the borders of Japheth. Now that's all your, originally that's going to be your white people, but it's also going to be a blood group. Just that simple. So now that we've mixed for thousands of years, the lines are blurry. This is why you will see people realizing that there's good and bad in their race. Some people don't seem to get that like others do, because they seem to be able to justify that. It's okay to be a particular race, and it's okay to be, hating somebody on the basis of their color of skin. Well, that's ignorant. That's more of what I'm talking about. Because you see, they're hating on their own brothers and sisters. Now, yes, they get to hate the people that they truly hate. But it's a big fat joke played on them, so that they have to know how retarded they were in this world when their judgment comes up. And his son shall be proselyted and dwell in the schools of Shem. So, Japheth is going to be proselyted in the schools of Shem, which explains why this proselytization, how we get these Jews that are not Jews. Do you understand? Who are the synagogue of Satan. Because they're proselyted. Do you understand? That would be your what? your Ukrainians, your Persians. And make no mistake about it, there really is no difference between those people. Hitler was trying to root those people out. The crown allowed him to do it because they knew that they would get an advantage. Again, you hurt others, you're going to pay later. So they knew how things work. But notice that the Persians, I'm talking about them magi, the magicians, notice the Freemasons, hello, notice that they traditionally have always married their sisters and their daughters. And that's exactly what animals do. And that's exactly what the Anunnaki did. You get it? Okay, I'm trying to help you. We can make a case for what bloodline they are. But just know, it's going to be more of a blood group than an actual line. The three blood groups, or rather bloodlines, 4 bloodlines, are not necessarily bad even of themselves. It's the blood groups that make the distinction. And his son shall be proselyted and dwell in the schools of Shem. Canaan shall be a servant to them. Now notice that the Freemasons do not practice, a religion that isn't based on magic. Is magic good? Are you supposed to do that? No, you're not. But again, this is irrational animals. Do you understand? Angels. Okay? And his son shall be proselyted, and shall be a servant to them, the brothers. And Noah lived after the deluge 350 years, and all the days of Noah were 950 years. And then he died. Now, everyone says, oh no, he never died, he was taken up. Well, it says here he died, and this is the Targum of Palestine. This is the Bible that, I wouldn't even waste my time with, Freemason King James, who was, a person who wrote a book, changed the English language, changed the meaning of words, spells, and then wrote a book on witchcraft. And then went out and got rid of quite a few women. Now, you can say, oh, well, he was getting rid of them because he wanted their, he wanted them gone because they were practicing magic. No, he wanted their property. Same thing they've done here. Now, they weren't entitled to take our land without our permission. So just remember, we'll cover that later. Okay? But just so you know, there will be a reckoning on everything that the Catholic Church, as well as the franchisee, the British government, has done here and elsewhere where they colonize. And trust me when I tell you, they do the same thing everywhere they go. Wherever they go, they ruin it. That's what they do. If you don't think the Anunnaki does that everywhere they go, wait, you'll find out when this is over. Okay, so let's continue. Now I'm going to cover this. This is going to be on public servants. So I always like to pick on the cops, because if there ever was a group of individuals that don't know their place, that would be it. So I find all public servants don't know their place these days. That's why they've become militant, because they know they're on their last leg and they're fighting for their lives because they know, guess what's coming downstairs, right? Guess what's coming? Logan's Run. That's what they got to look forward to. Ooh, we get to have all the sex we want. Ooh, we can swing both ways. Ooh, we're going to get all the drugs we can possibly take. But you only get to live to be 30. And in the book, just so you know, it was like, what, 18, 20? They couldn't find actors young enough to play those ages. So they changed to 30 for the movie. Look it up. And you can see they're already preparing for it because it's what they did in Hawaii. And you should look up where the plans are for all of these so-called future cities that they're supposed to have plans to build all around, the country, all around the world. I would call that Bush's 1,000 points of light. You get it? Okay, I'm just trying to help you. They don't want us to have anything. They want to take and steal all of the technology that collectively has been brought here. And then you have also probably interference from beings from other realms. When I say other realms, I'm not talking about outside the dome. Nobody's getting in or out of the dome, people. They're not coming from there. They're coming from under. They're coming from under the earth, and they're coming from under the sea. That's it. Their favorite place, what did the Book of Enoch tell you? The secrets of the Book of Enoch. They like to fly around above the abyss. So yes, they have technology to do that. But trust me when I tell you, it's not just their technology. They steal and colonize everything. And they take away from us things that we thought of. And if you don't believe me, read Donald Marshall's books and he'll tell you all about it. And also remember that Donald Marshall specifically said that they can clone you from a drop of blood. And in my video I've not posted yet, I showed you what they were doing to these babies. How they were taking 5 drops of blood from their heel. And I got my mother to tell me, who labored for 40 hours in the hospital. So she was asleep for probably that long. But my father told her that there was definitely something wrong with my heel. See, this is a ritual that they do to own, so that they can convince themselves, again, irrational animals, that they own your soul. Because your mother signed on your birth certificate as an informant because she didn't know what she was doing. You understand? It's all illegal. Who is the other person that signed these contracts? That's what I want to know. Who is it? You cannot have a contract without having 2 people sign it, minimum. And then there's witnesses. You understand? These adhesion contracts are not legal. They're not lawful especially, but they're not even legal. It's a farce what they're trying to get away with. But they've got thugs, pirates on the road that will kill you. And trust me when I tell you, they put a directed energy weapon right there in my heart as they were handing me a page to sign. That meant that it would cost me X amount of dollars if I didn't show up for court. See what they did? But in the end, I'm going to set myself up and I'm going to follow this all the way through. Even if it means that I have to build my own car. I'm going to do it. Right there. Okay. Officers must have a particularized, new word, I hadn't heard that one before, an objective basis for suspecting particular person. Remember, person is a word that means slave. Purser. In other words, you're the cash cow. Get it? You're a purser son. Get it? It's right there. Stopped of criminal activity. How do they know we're doing criminal activity? You know? And there's no way speeding could be a criminal activity anyway. Who is the injured party? Hello. U.S. versus Cortez, 449 U.S. 411-1981 on this day, July 23rd, 2022. That's pretty new. I looked it up. It does exist. And it's the Supreme Court telling them they're being reined in. They're being reined in. So don't go thinking that they're not being reined in. They are being reined in. They're not being reined in fast enough because they actually want us to stand up to these thugs under threat of death. Because honestly, if you want to be in the kingdom, you can't be somebody who lives in fear, okay? Because that's the problem with these bastards. They live in fear. Or they would follow the universal laws called natural laws. You get it? That the Constitution is based on. And make no mistake about it, the Constitution isn't over. Of course the demons want the Constitution to be over. The demo crazy. Of course they do. Anyway, Eddie Craig, whom I believe is a former sheriff, came up with this that I'm going to read to you. And I can tell you, I'm going to post a TikTok. Some of you aren't doing TikToks anymore. Well, guess what? I can't help you. Let me tell you what I've noticed. So none of the RH positives are keeping their TikTok app. They're getting rid of it. Why are they doing that? Because they're not allowed to keep it. Okay? They can be activated with a push of a button, a snap of a finger. None of them. Instead, they're going for America's Best, where they get to look at a lot of naked people. Of course, because they're irrational animals. I don't mean all of them. But that's what's going on. Now, Eddie Craig is a former sheriff. Now understand, this guy is probably full on RH positive. See, this is their idea of how they save the world. They save the world from them. I'm not making this up. But that's what they, in their mind, that's what they do. They're saving you from them. You see how it works? Anyway, Eddie Craig is probably one of them. Because the only way anyone could ever understand legal versus lawful, lawful is what's written in my heart. Legal is not written in my heart. Do you understand? Legal is not only illegal, it's lying, it's no truth in their courts. They don't allow truth and facts in their court. I'm just telling you. Lawful is something totally based on truth. Do you understand? So it takes somebody like one of them who's been trained in their retarded Illuminati delusional world, probably all of their life from birth, to be able to decipher what any of this crap means. Because a person like me would never be able to figure it out. And it's interesting that the guy that originally got me started on this 10 years ago, in fact, here is my Without Prejudice UCC 127 and 1308. There it is, right there. There's my signature. So that's all the way back 10 years ago. And trust me, I didn't do it right. Because nobody knew how to do it right then. Because they don't parcel the information out complete. They make you work for it. They want you to thank them when this is over. That's what they want. They have said on Hidden Hand that they are a catalyst for our learning. You get it? And they're our saviors. That's what they think they are. When in fact all they did was bother us. You know, illegally and unlawfully bother us. Anyway, there's my red ink. There's my black ink. I did this 10 years ago, but I became very skeptical, even though I remained friends with the person that got me involved in it. I remain very skeptical because I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm learning all about the blood groups. Why am I listening to this person who refuses to even comprehend that blood types and blood groups matter? Well, they don't want that. They're not interested in that. So anyway, I went to court with him. He told me, he said, don't stand up when a judge walks in. They're going to yell at you. They're going to hiss at you. They're going to curse at you. And they're going to intimidate you, but don't stand up. Sure enough, that's exactly what they did. I remember thinking, wow. But in the end, he never knew what happened. But he noticed that that charge went away. But he tried to push it with them. And when they pulled a gun out in open court and shoved it in his face, he got scared. Yeah. It's no fun to have a directed microwave energy weapon shoot you in the heart. It'd be a lot less fun to get shot in the face. Now, how they're going to do that in front of witnesses and get away with it, I don't know. But the way that you win is you don't, insult them. You stand your ground, but you can't insult them. That's why I got, the contempt of court. Because in the end, when I walked out, after the judge wouldn't answer my questions, I didn't have nothing else left to do, so I took the paper and wiped my ass with it on the way out the door. That's what they got me contempt of court for. That is not the contempt. The contempt is not telling me who my accuser was and that I had a right to face my accuser and where was it. and refusing to answer my question. That's contempt. But no, they turned it around on me. See how that worked? It's okay. I'm getting wiser about it. Harmless as dove, wise as stinking serpents. Anyway, I'm going to read this to you. You make out of it what you want to. We'll have to go fast because I've spent a lot of time wasting time. This is number one. Am I under arrest? Am I free to go? You should get not the same answer to them questions. Now, that's what you open with. Since I cannot leave on my own volition, I must presume that I am under custodial arrest, and I hereby invoke my amendment right to remain silent and my right for assistance of counsel. The officer may attempt to continue his interrogation of you or threaten you with arrest if you won't answer the question. Follow this up immediately with, I have invoked my right to remain silent and my right to assistance of counsel. Do you intend to punish me for invoking those protected rights? Of course, they're not going to answer. They'll do the same thing they did in court with me. They will not answer your questions. So this is going to be an argument that's going to continue on. But don't give them any information. This is the key that they will use against you. It says that will document it for the record that the officer is actually attempting to violate your rights or compel you to do so in order to give him an advantage over you later. Don't allow that to happen. Once you have invoked your rights, stand on them. When a traveler gets pulled over an alleged commercial traffic infraction, have a recording device and film everything. I have a phone that is empty that I will be literally filming everything. Plus, I've got a GoPro and plenty of vests and head parts. You know, I'm gonna be getting a device inside my car that will record out the side window. All of that is coming because you're going to be stopped on the road, literally going from here to there. If you're going over state lines, expect it. There'll be way more than just state lines. When you so it says, when you see lights come from behind you, and as you are pulling over, roll down windows to air out your car. Then roll them all back up as you pull over. This is to prevent them from saying you've got alcohol or marijuana in the car. So if they get a whiff of anything, it's marijuana or alcohol. See how that works? Right off the bat, when you are pulled over, you are under arrest. Have a recording device and film everything. The act of being stopped from pursuing your life, liberty, and happiness is an arrest. The cop will not tell you you are under arrest, and he will not read your Miranda rights, because once you know you have been arrested, most people won't volunteer the information he can use to manipulate and accuse you of a crime. When all fails to read, when he fails to read you your Miranda rights, as soon as he approaches your window, he is already committing a crime himself pursuant to People versus Session 260 CAL APP second D 2D 88667. I'm not going to read all these things to you, but it says C. Mathis versus the United States. Okay? And I have these, and I can certainly post these for you if you want to see them. This guy knows what he's talking about. He's very good. Once an investigating officer has probable cause to believe that the person, again, that's a slave, confronted has committed an offense, the officer cannot be expected to permit the suspect to leave his presence. At that point, interrogation becomes custodial, and the suspect must be warned of his rights. They don't do that, but that's what they should do. If they do that, you're not going to give, they're trying to make you talk so that you'll be a witness against yourself so they can build a case against you. When you come to a stop, lock all your doors and only crack your window about 2 inches. Do not open any other windows. This prevents a cross breeze, which the officer can use to say he smells pot or booze. Do not answer any of his questions if he's friendly. Do not be duped and engage in chit-chat. He is there to extort you. He has already broken his oath of office pursuant to Article 6, Clause 2 and 3 of the Constitution, and he has illegally detained you without Mirandizing you. He is there to rob you literally. He is a thug. This is a sheriff telling you this. He is a thug displaying a deadly weapon, and he can legally, now remember, legal is not lawful, but it is a jurisdiction that you will consent to if you're not careful, so you don't want to do that. And under threat of violence and murder force, you to comply to his every whim. When a cop pulls over a traveler who has not committed any crimes, he is immediately liable for damages pursuant to, and this gives you all of it. It's conspiracy against civil rights, action for neglect to prevent, sedition, conspiracy, trafficking with respect to peonage, slavery, involuntary servitude or forced labor, civil rights and elective franchise, peonage, obstructing enforcement title, and false statements and concealment. It says never as a question. You don't never ask a question you don't already know the answer to. You have to understand what you are asking. Don't just recite from memory what you should say. Comprehend it. And it is best to have these points memorized so you look like you know what you're talking about. You want the officer to know that you know your rights and that you comprehend what you are standing for, and not that you are just reading off of a piece of paper. Listen, pay attention. They're going to take you seriously, but it still works to be reading it if you have to. So understand, I'm going to make a pamphlet which will fold over my visor, and I'll be able to read it literally in front of my face. I'm going to make it. I've already made business cards with little choice informational things on it. Tip: create a small reminder list to keep visible in your car. Here's the script. It says, officer, blank and badge number blank. Could I get your name and badge number? You might also ask him to fill out your notice of inquiry and to report of detainment form. So he's going to get from me a notice of inquiry and or a report of detainment form. Now he probably will or will not, fill it out, but it could happen. Anyway, it could certainly happen. So from now on, you say the officer's name and his badge number whenever you address him. Are you recording, and is your video and audio equipment working properly? And of course, you are recording. Every time you address them, officer and badge number. What is your emergency? Is there something I can assist you with? Don't assume that you've done anything wrong. Address again, officer and badge. Can any of the information you are demanding from me be used against me in a court of law or used to discriminate me in any way? See, you're setting him up. See what you're doing? He hasn't read you your Miranda rights. This is telling him that you are aware that he should have already read you your Miranda rights. If the officer says yes or continues asking you for your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance, which is the same as saying you must comply and give him what he asked for, say, officer and badge number, are you asserting that a statute compel me to waive a fundamental protected right to comply with your demand? Next question, officer, badge, are you stopping me for a civil infraction, which is really what it is? It's a policy. You understand? That's all it is. It's a policy. That's what statutes are. For the United States government or for the United States corporation. Do you get it? They're just policies. Or an alleged criminal offense. In other words, you're going to get him to tell you whether it's a civil action or a criminal offense. If he says criminal and he cites something from the traffic code, then you have got him for incompetence. If he doesn't know what the law defines the allegation he made is a civil infraction. He illegally stopped you without a warrant for a civil infraction, which means he didn't have probable cause or reasonable suspicion, because those only attach to crimes. This is always about choosing a foundation you can build on to get them to admit certain things, rather than ask him about probable cause, which he will say he has. First, determine whether or not he understands how probable cause is obtained. In other words, any citation for a traffic violation is a civil infraction, not a crime. If he says he has stopped you for a crime, then he must have probable cause, or the crime you committed or committing or about to commit, you have trapped him. So if he says he stopped you for a crime, say, officer and badge number, what facts or information are you alleging gave you probable cause to stop me? Officer and badge number, do you have a properly signed and issued warrant to search me or my property? If he says he has a warrant, ask to see it. If he has a warrant, he has to finish it within a reasonable amount of time after he throws you in the cage. Officer and badge number. For the record, I am not operating in for-hire capacity by engaging in any form of transportation or commercial use of the highways. So you're putting him on notice. You're not using it like a truck driver. Officer and badge number, please acknowledge that you have been so informed. Keep repeating the question until he answers. It's what they do. This is important because he'll keep you there even though he has no reason to do so, as he fishes for something else to charge you with. Officer and badge number, am I under custodial arrest? If I am not under custodial arrest, am I free to go? The answer cannot be the same. It has to be different. You're asking two different questions that contrast. Officer badge number, what articulate and articulable, particularized, and I added that because that's the new word that is the Supreme Court put in 2022. An objective, probable cause leads you to believe that I have committed a crime that authorizes you to stop and detain or arrest me. Always let them answer. Some of these you will repeat. For the record, officer and badge number, in order to protect my rights and not waive any by error or accident, I wish to clarify my legal comprehension of the situation. You see, I don't like understanding, so I changed that word. I'm not standing under him, and I'm certainly not going to be standing under the judges either. I'm standing on my standing, not theirs. You said I am not free to go, so I must conclude that I am under arrest and not simply under investigation, under investigative detention. Therefore, I am invoking all my fundamentally protected rights, including my right to remain silent and my right to assistance of counsel. From this point forward, I do not consent to providing you with any information or documents that can be used against me in a court of law or possibly incriminate me. So please do not ask me to produce anything and give it to you. From this point forward, please do not ask me to answer any questions or perform any tests relating to any matter whatsoever without my counselor present. It said attorney. I'm not using that. And don't ever get an attorney for traffic court. And do not represent, says represent yourself. You are there by special appearance, sui juris, by one's own right. Or just say, I'm here today prosecuting this case. Never agree that you are representing yourself, because you would be representing your commercial straw man. The legal name, the all caps name. You see what you're navigating through? You're navigating through magic words that have double speak meanings. See, our minds could never figure this out. It takes one of them to figure out how to tell us how to get past it. This is why I say it's all goddamn mafia. This guy is a former sheriff. Hello. Now, the fact that they're trying to help you here, the question is, did they ever have the jurisdiction to bother you in the first place? And why do we need to learn all this ridiculousness? Why didn't you just teach us this in school? In civics class? You didn't. Because the criminals run the school system. You understand? The mafia. And therefore you want to indoctrinate us because you want to make us stupid so that you can rush in and claim, oh, we trained you, we saved your butts. You have to forgive us now. Really? We'll see. We'll see how this works. So far, I have been hit with the directed microwave energy weapon. I will never forget that. Never that you did that. Do you intend to harm, injure, or punish me by any method of assault, arrest, or incarceration? Because I have invoked my fundamental, constitutionally protected rights. Officer may now be saying that the law requires you to produce documents. This is intimidation. Invoking your fundamental rights cannot be converted to a crime. You see? Can't be converted into a crime. So you've already invoked them. So they can't be converted into a crime. So if they charge you falsely with obstruction, you get to sue their pants off because what they did was just punish you for invoking your rights. And do cops do that? They absolutely do. They are only interested in democracy. Get it? The moon. For the record, officer badge number, no law is valid if it requires me in any way to waive any unalienable protected rights in order to exercise any other right or alleged privilege, and no law can convert the free exercise of any right into a crime. I have repeatedly informed you that I choose not to waive any of my rights, fundamentally or constitutionally protected rights. So I ask you once again, officer badge number, do you intend to harm, injure, steal my property, or otherwise punish me for invoking my fundamental constitutionally protected rights? You see what you're doing? You're trapping him. And you've got it on video. Do you get it? Officer and badge number, due to your attitude, demeanor, and your continuous threats to falsify charges and to commit acts of violence against me and my property while displaying a deadly weapon, I feel physically threatened and in fear of my life. I demand that you cease and desist and that you get a supervisor here immediately. Okay. That's going to de-escalate the situation, but maybe not right away. You got to be careful, and you got to be willing. It doesn't say in here. You got to be willing to just keep telling him to de-escalate, 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 because he'll try to turn up the heat on you. Why? Because they're stinking angels, man. Doesn't take a genius to figure this out. Did Ham get the hot land? Yes. Hello. I do not consent to any of your actions or the use of force against me or my property or being forced to exit my car for any purpose, especially so that you may attempt to steal my property and or assault, injure, or kill me. If you don't think that they kill people when they stop them on the side of the road, if you're white, you may not know this, but trust me, People of color know it. People of color know it. They know. And when you get one of these pirates that have the legal power over you to do this to you, and they never, ever, because they're made men, they have rules that you would never understand unless you understood the mafia. They will never take another cop down. Nope, it's not done. So they're getting away with murder out there. You better have your camera with you. That's all I'm going to tell you. This is telling the officer exactly what you expect him to do, and it is now a part of the official record. You will be showing that all you did was invoke your rights, and all he could do was threaten you with violence. Officer and badge number, you are fully aware that I've already invoked my right to remain silent and my right to assistance of counsel. Do you intend to continue in all unlawful efforts to violate my rights? Just keep repeating this like a skipping record. Invoke your rights and stand on your rights. Officer and badge number. It is my belief that the information that you were demanding may be possibly used against me in a court of law or in an attempt to incriminate me. And if that is so, thereupon the advice of legal counsel, I must respectfully decline to provide you with any information or evidence that possibly or would be used against me for these purposes. Now, this is where you need to pay attention, because this is where the rubber meets the road. Once they realize that you're not going to hand over your driver's license, that's how I got hit with the directed microwave energy weapon. They took me to a magistrate. They filled out paperwork. They wanted me to sign it. Had I stuck to my guns and said, that's what I should have done. But could they have killed me? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But here's the way I feel about it. I would rather be somewhere else than here with the tyrant with this boot on my neck. Okay? That's just the way I feel. See, they're bothering us, and they don't even have the rights to bother us. But I'm gonna play this game with them. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to be prepared, I can tell you that. You have the right not to provide anything to them, so don't. Officer badge number. I'm asking you again, do you intend to continue to deny me my rights and to falsely imprison me? Or am I free to go? Keep repeating this, keep repeating this, keep repeating this. If the officer then tries to get you out of the car with false allegations, such as he's saying he smells marijuana, immediately say, officer and badge number, your statement is patently false and an outright lie. You are now trying to fabricate probable cause by making false statements into the record and false allegations against me. Do you understand? They do this anyway. This is what they do. I'm telling you their script so that you can protect yourself against it. And if you think you're not dealing with martial law, you better think again. This could keep you out of prison. Okay? Just saying. Alternate response. I object, officer badge number, due to your falsified statement pursuant to the code, false statements and concealment. I demand that you cease and desist from any further actions of federal crimes of conspiracy against my unalienable, constitutionally secured liberty pursuant to Article 6, Clause 2 and 3 of the Supreme Law of the land. And I also demand that you uphold your fiduciary duty as a police officer to the public by allowing me to enjoy and exercise my natural liberty to travel the land which the Supreme Court ruled is constitutionally protected pursuant to Shapiro versus Thompson. Good to know. Your car / automobile is a consumer good. UCC 9102A 23. Consumer goods means goods that are used or bought for use primarily for personal, family, or household purposes. So, are they going to require you to register your microwave oven or your sofa next? They're trying to take something away from you so that you'll comply with them robbing you in court. And let me tell you, that money that you spend on the lawyer and the fines, if you only knew how much money was in your straw man account and how much they dip into that, you would really be pissed. If you are not a commercial driver, you are neither a driver nor are you operating a motor vehicle. If he wants to sign his debt instrument ticket, if he wants you to sign it, you can tell him you do not want to enter into a contract with him. Now, this is what I kept telling the cop when they hit me with the directed microwave energy weapon. And you are not signing anything. Now, see, this is where my bunghole will pucker. Okay? I know what happens next, but pay attention. Note, a flesh and blood man or woman does not write a signature. That is what the straw man does. So signature is not what you do. You do not sign signatures. You, the flesh and blood man or woman, give an autograph. Oh, you're just like a celebrity. You give an autograph. If he persists in acting violent, or if for any reason you are afraid for your life and safety, give your autograph under duress, like this. Do not underline it, for emphasis only. See, this is the way people used to do it back when I was doing it 10 years ago. You don't do that anymore. So it gives you a couple of different ways, but the bottom line is, John Doe under protest with prejudice, without acceptance of necessity, or all the above. So your name, under duress, with prejudice, without acceptance of necessity. There's another way. By the way, there's a link here to learn about your autograph and how you should never use all caps. And they show you how to do it. And I'll put that link on here. Duress, unlawful pressure exerted upon a person to coerce that person to perform an act that he or she ordinarily would not perform. That's what duress means. Actus me invite factus non est meus actus. That's it in Latin. An act done by me against my will is not my act. That's Bouvier's Law Dictionary. Okay, folks, there you have it. There it is. That's my video. And I will be making more of these as I'm going to teach what I learned. I will sift out the parts that, because there's a lot of people online telling you to do things that you're never going to be able to do. For example, to get rid of your state-granted driver's license, you really need to have a passport that you filled out where in every place where it asks you if you are a citizen, check non-citizen. Check it, non-citizen. And then you need to have that in place so that you can replace your identification with that. And then you need to go take that and give it back to the state. Give your driver's license back to the state. Make them take it and destroy it. Rescind it. You can do that legally. You can fill out the paperwork and do it legally. Anyway, that is my video. There will be more information forthcoming. I hope that you will continue to follow me because I am not the mafia and I intend to help you out. I'm not charging you anything for this. And trust me, people do charge for this. They hit me with a $385 payment just the other day. But I sat here for 2 days and copied what I just read to you. Took me 2 days to do it. Saturday and Sunday. And it was the equivalent, I'm going to put the link, the TikTok link on here. It was the equivalent of about a minute. 2 days it took me. And looked all over the internet, you're not going to find what I just gave you. You'll find versions of it, but it won't be enough. This is what you want. This is teaching you how to deal with them. If you pay attention and you keep looking at the material, you'll figure it out, I promise you. Mostly, what I like most about this is it's all written down. Just like the guy says, learn it. We're not actors. They're the actors. However, if you just read it, it'll still work. That's what he says, and I believe he's right about that. Anyway, I'll be making a trifold that you can put in your visor where you just pull it down and start reading away. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.